Welcome back to the show. And we have with us in studio Damola Ladejobi, ASKDAMZ. Everybody knows you as ASKDAMZ. And we're looking at the growing fit fam lifestyle in Nigeria, of which you are a huge part of the movement, which has grown incredibly over the past years in Nigeria. Almost every corner you look, there's a smoothie bar, there's a gym, and every other month you'll discover a new vegetable that helps you burn fat. Eat clean, train dirty, hashtag, trending on Instagram and Twitter at all times. Yes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Is this your first time on Rubbing Minds?
Yes, it's my first time.
Yay. I'm glad I got to do this. Yes. And tell me, how do Nigerians align with the Fit Fam evolution?
Okay, so it's so funny that, when I started my own journey, I initially wasn't thinking of Fit Fam. I just wanted to lose weight. But a defining moment or the defining point for me in my life was when I realized that, look, weight management is actually not just about counting calories alone. It's actually about, focusing on your overall health and eating good food. So that's where this whole Fit Fam thing came from. So it's now a revolution of, we see ourselves kind of like a family, kind of like pushing and supporting one another. So hashtag Fit Fam. We have, Instagram has about 107 million Fit Fam hashtag entries of the Fit Fam hashtag. And apparently you have on Twitter every 30 minutes or every hour about 700 Fit Fam hashtags. So yes, it's taken over Nigeria for sure.
Do you think everybody is joining the Fit Fam journey to shed weight or just to look cool?
Okay, so you have people that actually want to lose weight. You have people who need to do it for health reasons, like it's a do or die affair for them. So for example, people who have PCOS, or you have hyper or hypothyroidism, or you have diabetes, it's a do or die affair for them. It's either they do it or they're going to die, literally, or they land in hospital. And the last thing that will be on your mind if you're on a sick bed is, fitting into a bodycon dress or a bikini. So some people actually are doing it because they need to. Some people are doing it for vanity reasons, and some people are not doing it at all. They're just doing it for the camera. So you see some people in the latest gym gears and everything, and they put hashtag eat clean, train dirty, just to show their newly acquired body or newly acquired gym outfit or something.
How difficult is it to lose weight, really?
How difficult is it to lose weight? So it depends on the angle that we're looking at it from. So first things first, some people actually lose weight but don't realize that they're losing weight. And here's the thing. If the scale is the only measure of progress, if the scale is your only measure of progress when it comes to weight loss, then weight loss is going to be extremely hard for you. The average human being will fluctuate between 2 to 4 kilograms in a day. Now, this is based on different things. Your water intake, undigested food weighing more than digested food, and so many other factors. If you ate heavy the last night, if you didn't sleep properly, things like that come into play. One. Two, I have over 20 points, but I'm going to try to narrow it down. Two, if you are not getting enough sleep or you're constantly stressed out, it's going to be extremely hard for you to lose weight.
So you mean the whole of Nigeria, basically?
Literally. That's why so in fact, for me, as opposed to the regular weight loss expert, when you come to me, for me, yes, I want to give you a plan, but most importantly, I want to know everything about you, because your stress level, your sleep levels determines the kind of plan that I'm going to put you on. I know that there's no way you're going to follow a plan if you're stressed out. There's no way you're going to follow a plan if you're only getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep per day. Your metabolism alone is going to be totally messed up if you're not getting enough sleep. 3, medical conditions make things difficult. So if you have hyperthyroidism or you have PCOS, any sort of metabolic disorder will slow down your weight loss progress. So it all depends. Some people suffer from emotional eating, and so we just see them and think, oh, why is this person so fat? But you don't understand the underlying factors. Now, we need to start digging deep into the root cause of people not being able to lose weight as expected. There's so many factors. Some of us are drinking our calories. We're constantly drinking all these fizzy drinks. I wouldn't call any brands. Some of us are overfit farming. So we've joined this whole Fit Fam gang, Fit Fam revolution. And yes, there's certain foods that are healthy, certain foods that we brand as unhealthy. However, these foods that we are eating we're excessively eating rather, maybe the root cause of weight gain. For example, a lot of people overconsume nuts. We're overeating the nuts. We're overeating the Greek yogurt. Oh, Greek yogurt is healthy. We're overeating the granola. We're overeating, oh, coconut oil is, oh, it's so good. And so we decide to pour the whole thing to make a pot of jollof rice or coconut rice or, you know, little things like that can affect weight loss.
Let me ask you a personal question. So you were obviously much heavier before your journey. Why do people demonize fat people?
You know what's so funny? And I was actually hoping that you would bring this question up. Now, for me, I'm telling you, yes, I wanted to, you know, fit into a bodycon dress, but I was one of the most confident. You can ask my friends. It's now that when we look at pictures, they're like, "Damn, like, are you sure you used to look like this? Are you sure you did not Photoshop your before pictures?" Because it just literally doesn't make sense. So for me, my identity and what I would advise, the advice I'll give anybody out there is that what you think about yourself is really important. And social media, there are different sorts of editing these days. I saw a picture of myself a few weeks ago on my friend's Snapchat, and I thought it was Beyonce there because I couldn't relate. I'm like, okay, this doesn't look like me. There's camera 360. All that glitters is not gold. If you're comparing yourself to any social media celebrity, any people on the magazines and all of that, you're heading for disaster. So you have to actually know your self-worth. You have to actually find your own gold, as Steph Obi would say, within yourself. Know your own identity and be confident. Because truth of the matter is, I was so confident that people didn't see me in that light. They didn't think, oh, she's fat and all over the place. No, people, unfortunately, there's a stigma attached to it, to being obese. They think, oh, this person doesn't have self-control. Oh, you're eating too much, without realizing that there are underlying factors. You know, so for example, for me, my ultimate, the height of my weight gain, rather, was when I was in university. So I went to a university where in a class of over 300 people, I was the only Nigerian and there were only 2 black people. So I had my best friend was from Zimbabwe. And I remember walking into the classroom on the first day and I looked up because it was like an auditorium type thing. And I just saw, I saw white faces. Now coming from Nigeria with a classroom of like black people everywhere, I literally freaked out and started crying because I'm like, oh my God, new terrain, new territory. So for me, I found it, apparently, I may have had some sort of inferiority complex also at that point in time because I don't get why I wasn't so confident. So I was actually sad for a while. I missed home. And my happy place was just walking into Tesco or Sainsbury's or ASKDAMZ, just buying croissants, buying all sorts of drinks and eating myself to a stupor. Before I knew it, I came home on holiday. And everybody's asking me, what's happening? We sent you to London to school, to England to school. University of Exeter, why did you come out looking like this? What's happening to you? You know, all sorts of remarks. I think everybody should be confident in their own skin. Be your own kind of beautiful, whether big or small. And even as they were saying all sorts of things about me, I didn't really care. I would dress up and look so good. In fact, out of all my friends, I would carry myself so well that I'm the one that would even invite everybody. Come on, everybody, let's go to the party. Very confident.
Because we've seen people that swing from binging to starvation. Are they not risking getting food disorders because of what they feel or how they feel they should eat to fulfill other people's expectations of them?
Yeah, and this is very true. And I'll be 100% honest with you. And this is something that even myself as a weight loss expert, I have to be very conscious about. You see, there's a thin line between being fit femme and obsessing about healthy and unhealthy foods and borderline having a food disorder. Now, anorexia is real. Bulimia is real. These things are like, we joke about it, but they're actually serious issues where people actually need to see doctors. They need to see therapists to get themselves out of there. And so for me, what I do for my daughter, for example, I have a 10-year-old, and the other day somebody was saying to her, oh, your stomach is just so big. And she said to me, Mommy, I want to ask ASKDAMZ. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, they were telling me that my stomach is just so big. I actually went up to, I asked, I said, who said that to you? And she pointed, and I went to the person. I said, please don't speak to my child like that again. I've struggled with weight issues. I teach my kids about being healthy. I don't teach them that they have to be a particular size, be a size 8 or be a size 10 or 12. That is not my issue. I want my kids to live long and see food as something that should nourish their body, something that should give them good health, optimum health. I want them to be able to live long, not to be worried about whether they have a figure 8 or whether they have, you know, how society wants them to look or feel. So we have to be very conscious. It's a very thin line, I'll be honest with you.
People often say that weight loss is an expensive game, and even eating healthy is expensive. Are there ways that you can actually go around it where you don't have to spend so much more to eat more healthy, to eat healthier food?
Of course. I always tell people that I'm sure I'm starting to sound like a broken record. For every broccoli, there's ewedu, there's okra, there's ugu, there's bitter leaf, there's water leaf. For every strawberry or pomegranate, there's orange, there's pawpaw, there's watermelon. In fact, even in slices, you see the malangs on the street now, they're selling them in slices. There's no excuse whatsoever. I've coached people from the cream de la cream of the society, as Nigerians, as people will say, to coppers, you know, and being on the copper salary is not easy, as they call it alawi. So we have to literally break it down to things that are affordable for them. So eating healthy is not expensive. Eating imported food is what is expensive. There's a difference.
But Fit Fam is like a religion. So people are constantly obsessing over food, and they feel guilty every time they take an extra portion. Is that a problem?
Here's what I always say to people, including myself. I have to remind myself every day also, and my clients. If you messed up on one day, doesn't mean that you're going to give up on your journey. And even as a weight loss coach, there are days where I'm like, okay, Dams, if somebody just saw what you put on your plate now, they'll be wondering, is this not ASKDAMZ weight loss expert? I don't hide what I eat for me, because when you start hiding what you eat, it can lead to a food disorder.
But do you live under pressure of that sometimes?
Of course. You know, if I wake up, it's size 20 tomorrow, I'm going to lose my job. So there's definitely pressure. But never, ever. I've seen people battle depression. I've seen people hospitalized from depression. There is no way I'm going to let anybody steal my joy. You know, there's no way I'm going to let anybody dictate to me how to live or what size that I'm supposed to be. It's so funny that a couple of weeks ago, apparently I've shrunk. I lost a couple of inches. And somebody saw me and said, why are you looking like somebody that's just very scrawny? But I remember before I left Nigeria, because I went on holiday for a few weeks, somebody else said to me, oh, it's like you're gaining weight. Oh, the truth of the matter is, people are never going to be satisfied. So just do it for you. So for me, I'm all about wellness. So I've moved from just being a weight loss expert to a wellness expert. And that is what actually also birthed ASKDAMZ Wellness Institute. And that's why when I launched Africa's very first wellness app, even though I'm a weight loss expert, I didn't call it a weight loss app. I didn't call it a weight management app. I called it a wellness app, because there's a thin line between.
When did you launch the app?
Oh, so I launched the app officially 3 days ago, but I threw it out into the public in September for people to test run it. So we have like a step counter, kind of like what your Fitbit will do.
Okay.
Yeah, the first wellness app in Africa. We have a food blog on there, a calorie counter on there, your water tracker, your fasting tracker for people who decide to do intermittent fasting. That's another thing. People just like to jump from one trend to the other.
Yeah, that's one of the current ones.
Yes, intermittent fasting. Then 1 minute they're doing keto, another minute they're vegetarian. So what I always tell people is that you only live once. Rather, do whatever works for you. For me, you can't tell me to be a keto dieter, because I like my carbs. You also can't tell me to be vegetarian, because I like to eat some meat. So I believe in balance. Yeah. However, some people need to do certain things for health reasons. So there's a difference.
I mean, there are people who just want to enjoy their day at parties, family engagements. But you notice that once they join the hashtag, they are constantly worrying about calories, and it makes it difficult for other people to, around them, to enjoy themselves or to remain themselves. Do you offer any sort of like emotional counseling while you service people in what it is that you do, so that they understand that this journey is my journey and mine alone, and not to guilt others around me to stop having a good time and just getting in the swing of things?
In fact, just that people will say that, oh, that's her most expensive package. Yeah, I call it my platinum package or my platinum VVIP package. The first thing that I like to do with anyone or any client is to actually speak to them, so that they can understand. I like to say, what is your why? What is your reason for trying to do this thing? You know, and try to figure out exactly exactly what their focus is, what their major pain point is, so that way I explain to them that, look, I know I can rather run a boot camp for you, kind of like a crash diet that will make you shrink in a couple of days or weeks or whatever it is. However, the most important thing is trying to maintain your weight and being healthy. So I try to explain that to people. And also, what I try to do is, when I'm around, because I go out quite often, and people see me, maybe I'm with a slice of cake, and they freak out. They're like, ah, why are you eating cake? Are you not a weight loss coach? I'm like, I believe in balance. I actually call myself the balance queen. I believe in the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time I'm on my A game. 20% of the time, leave me. I want to eat my spring rolls. Leave me when I touch my donut or my cake. Leave me when I have the fizzy drink. You only live once. I'm sorry. So, yeah.
Do you believe in children dieting? Because I've seen people, I have friends who have kids, boys, girls, who are maybe a little bit like, you know, chubby or, you know, just like, you know how kids can be, and they're working through all that. I mean, I'm talking children under 7, under 10, and you already find their mothers like harping. Oh, no, 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 you're too fat, you're too this, you're too that. Do you believe in putting children on diets?
I do not believe in putting children on diets in
Why is
any
that?
shape or form whatsoever, because you'll mess up with the psychology of the child from the beginning. I think one of the root causes of my confidence, even when at my biggest, was because my mom, even till now, even when I was leaving the house, because I wasn't sure whether I was going to get makeup done or not, my mom would say to me, oh my God, wow, you are so beautiful. Like, and you know, just growing up, hearing my mom literally every day tell me how good I looked, even at my biggest. Oh, when people will say, oh, you've gained so much. My mom will say, don't mind them, you've gained weight, but you're still beautiful. Even if no amount of fat can take away the fact that you're beautiful, let nobody put you down. What you tell your child is very important. So I gave the example about myself and my daughter, because my daughter turned 10. I'm currently looking for a secondary school for her. And there's no way in this world I'm going to allow anybody to make my child have some sort of inferiority complex. But what I hammer on is good nutrition. And in fact, we also just launched via the app, ASKDAMZ Wellness Institute, where we launched 19 courses. And one of the courses that we launched on there is childhood nutrition. Notice that it's not weight loss in childhood or childhood diet. It's childhood nutrition. So childhood feeding for good health. So you must teach your kids about good food and bad food, but also don't be so strict with them in such a way that they begin to hide stuff from you. And so you have kids that eat behind their parents. I deal with teenagers also. And a lot of things that these teenagers tell me, they can't tell their parents. And they're like, look, coach, I'll be honest with you. Because my mom would say, if she sees me with a bar of chocolate, she's going to keep hammering on the fact that I look the way I look. You know, because I have parents that come in with their kids. I don't want my mom to see me eating this. And I have to go back and tell the mom or the dad that, look, I need you to please stop speaking to your child that way. I need you to hammer on, I need you to lay emphasis on health, not weight loss. Because if you hammer on health, weight loss would be...
Very, very quickly, because we have to go now. The new fad, the newest fad is you know, surgical bodies versus weight loss. What is your take on that? What is your stance on that? Is it a direct conflict to what you do? And is this something that you subscribe to some clients?
Okay,
or rather you recommend to some clients?
I would never, ever recommend surgery to anybody. Now, whatever rocks your boat, people do surgery for whatever reasons, and I don't want to knock them down. You know, for me personally, a lot of people actually thought I did surgery. In fact, that's what brought me into the limelight, because people thought, she was so big, she lost weight, or she must have done surgery. Unfortunately, due to time constraints and the dress, I can't show you, but I have videos on my page. I always say it, as I say, I don't have shame. My husband would be like, don't say you don't have shame. What do you mean by that? But I'm not a surgery advocate. And let me tell you something. So some of my best clients are people who have done surgery. I'll tell you why. It's a very unnatural way of taking fat out of the body. So what happens is that the body struggles to gain the weight back, because the body cannot understand why fat has suddenly been taken out of it all of a sudden. And so they come to me, they panic literally, like, and I'm like, okay, what's wrong? And they're like, oh, well, to be honest with you, one-on-one, I actually had surgery done and I gained the weight back really, really fast. So surgery is, and I hear so many scary stories these days, people doing it under, so-called medical supervision, or people not being licensed, or people who are not licensed, claiming to be licensed, doing all sort of surgeries. especially butt implants.
This is such a great subject. Unfortunately, we have to go. But thank you so much, Dami,
Thank you
for coming to the show, Damola. And I hope we have you back. Thank you so much.
Thank
All
you.
the good work. Keep up good work
Thank
with
you.
everything you're doing.
Thank you.
Nigeria, do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.